He'd been planning this for 8 months. Full week, phone in airplane mode, actual beach, not a resort, just a beach. No schedule, no check-ins, nothing on the calendar. He slept when he was tired, he ate when he was hungry, he read 2 books, watched the sun go down every single night. By day 4, he genuinely thought, this is it. This is the reset. He got home on a Sunday, unpacked, got into bed at 9 p.m., slept 9 hours straight. Woke up exhausted. And I know that because that guy was basically me, and I could not explain it.
Yeah, I've been there. And the thing is, most people have. They just don't talk about it because it sounds like complaining when you just had a vacation.
Right, like, I felt guilty even mentioning it. I just had a week off. What do I have to be tired about?
But that guilt is actually part of the problem, because we've built this whole story that sleep is the answer. 8 hours, that's the fix. And if you're still tired after 8 hours, then something's wrong with you. You're not doing it right. And that's not even close to the whole picture.
So what is the whole picture?
The exhaustion most people are feeling, the chronic, low-grade, never quite rested thing, it's not a sleep problem. It's a cognitive problem. And those are very different things.
Okay, so explain cognitive problem, because I feel like that sounds like something you'd read in a wellness article and then forget immediately.
Fair. So, okay, the brain is running constantly, like obviously. But what most people don't realize is that every single decision you make costs energy, actual metabolic energy, glucose. And it doesn't matter if the decision is, should I quit my job or what should I have for lunch? The brain is burning fuel on both.
Wait, same amount?
Not exactly the same, but the same mechanism. And here's the part that gets me. Context switching is brutal. Like every time you flip between tasks, every time you get a notification and come back to what you were doing, that's not free. The brain pays a tax on that.
So like, checking your phone 40 times is not actually nothing.
It's the opposite of nothing. There's this concept, cognitive load, where basically the brain has a working capacity, and when you fill it up, you don't just slow down. You start making worse decisions, you get more emotional, you feel physically drained. And the thing is, we are filling that capacity before most people have even had breakfast.
That's depressing. Okay, but this actually connects to something. You know that thing that was everywhere? Revenge bedtime procrastination?
Atlas, yeah.
Where people, they know they have to be up at 6. They're already exhausted, and they're still scrolling at midnight. And everyone's like, just go to sleep, idiot. But it's not that simple, is it?
It's actually, and I think this is the part most people miss, it's a completely rational response to cognitive depletion. Your brain has been controlled all day. Every decision was made in service of someone else's agenda. And at midnight, scrolling through whatever, that's the first autonomous choice you've made in 16 hours. The brain is not being stupid. The brain is trying to reclaim something.
That's actually kind of sad when you say it like that.
It is. It really is. And it tells you something important about what the real problem is.
Which is what? Like, if decisions are depleting me, and I can't stop making decisions because that's just life, what actually fixes it?
So here's where it gets interesting and kind of uncomfortable. There's a researcher, Roy Baumeister, and he basically spent decades studying what he called ego depletion. The idea that willpower, decision-making, self-control, they all draw from the same limited resource. And when it's gone, it's gone. You make worse choices, you feel worse, you snap at people, you can't think straight.
So the 4 p.m. version of me isn't lazy. He's just out of gas.
Literally. And the cruel thing is, the work that depletes us most today is invisible, like nobody can see it. You didn't move furniture, you didn't build something. You sat at a desk and thought really hard and made 40 decisions and had 12 meetings and answered 200 emails, and at the end of it, there's nothing to show. No artifact, no pile of wood, just a slightly shorter to-do list that somehow got longer while you weren't looking.
Oh, that's so real. That is so painfully real.
And there's something specific about knowledge work that makes this worse than any other kind of exhaustion humans have experienced. Because physical work, manual labor, farming, whatever, has a completion signal. You can see when you're done. The field is plowed, the shelf is built. The brain gets a dopamine hit. It knows it's finished. It can actually rest. Knowledge work has no completion signal. The inbox refills, the Slack refills, the project list grows while you're working on it. The brain never gets to say, done.
So the brain is just permanently in the middle of something.
Always. And here's the counterintuitive thing. People who exercise regularly actually report feeling more energized, not less, which seems crazy if you're already depleted, but it makes sense once you understand the mechanism. Physical depletion has a recovery signal. Your muscles send feedback. Your body knows something happened and starts rebuilding. Cognitive depletion has no equivalent signal. The brain just keeps going. There's no biological alarm that says, "You've been thinking for 9 hours, please stop."
Okay, but people have always worked. Like, our grandparents worked harder than we do. Why is everyone more exhausted now than they were 50 years ago?
Great question. And the answer is not volume, it's type. 50 years ago, even knowledge workers had natural cognitive breaks built into the day. You had to walk to someone's office to talk to them. You waited for mail. There were physical transitions between tasks. The architecture of the day built in pauses. Now, the stimulation is continuous. Every gap fills immediately. Standing in line, phone. Waiting for a file to load, email. Driving, podcast. The brain has literally not had an unoccupied moment in years.
I can't actually remember the last time I was bored. Like, genuinely bored, with nothing.
And that matters more than almost anything else I'm going to say today. Because boredom isn't nothing. Boredom is what happens when the default mode network activates. And that's actually what I want to get into, because it changes everything. Okay, so the default mode network, the DMN. Most people have never heard of it, but it is running your life whether you know it or not. So, when you're doing focused work, there's a network in your brain that's active. Task-positive network, goal-directed, focused, executing. And when you stop doing focused work, when you stare out the window, when you daydream, when you have nothing to do, a completely different network kicks in.
The default mode network.
Right. And for a long time, neuroscientists thought this was just the brain idling, background noise. But it's not. It's incredibly active. It's doing memory consolidation, organizing and filing what you learned that day. It's running social simulations, imagining future conversations, processing relationships. It's doing self-referential processing. Who am I? What do I want? What matters to me? It is doing the most important non-task work your brain ever does. And it can only do that work when the task-positive network is fully offline.
So lying on the couch scrolling Instagram is not actually resting.
It is the opposite of resting. Because your eyes are feeding your brain a continuous stream of social information, faces, reactions, other people's emotions, things to respond to, and the DMN can't activate under those conditions. You are lying down. You feel like you're resting, but your brain is still fully in task mode processing a social environment. This is why you can lie on the couch for 3 hours and feel worse than when you sat down.
Oh no. Oh no, that's me. That is exactly me.
It's everyone. The DMN needs low stimulation input to activate. Walking without a destination, not a workout, not a podcast, just walking. Doing dishes without music, sitting without anything in your hands. Activities that are so automatic the task-positive network disengages and the DMN can finally come online and do its work. And the modern environment has essentially eliminated all of those activities. We've filled every gap. Every potential DMN window is now a content window. And so the most important restorative process the brain has just never happens.
So wait, what you're saying is we're not bad at resting. We've just lost access to the conditions that make real rest possible.
That's exactly it. And I think that reframe matters because so much of the conversation around exhaustion is, what's wrong with you? Why can't you just sleep? Why can't you just disconnect? As if it's a personal failure. But the conditions required for cognitive recovery have been systematically engineered out of daily life. It's not a discipline problem. It's an architecture problem.
Pre-industrial people, like before screens, before electricity even, how much actual low stimulation time were they getting?
Estimates vary, but somewhere between 9 and 11 hours of genuine low stimulation time per day. After dark, there was basically nothing to do. No light, no entertainment, no information. The brain got a mandatory DMN window every single night. We get close to zero. We fill the dark with screens and then wonder why we wake up unrested.
9 to 11 hours. You know what's strange? I actually think I'm addicted to stimulation in a way I don't fully understand. Like, I notice I get uncomfortable when there's nothing happening. Not bored, uncomfortable, like something's wrong. And I don't know when that started.
And that discomfort? That's the DMN trying to activate, and your nervous system reading it as a threat. Because we've conditioned ourselves to interpret mental quiet as emptiness, as wasted time, as something to fix, when actually that's where the important stuff happens. That's where you figure out what you actually think, what you actually want, who you actually are when nobody's asking anything of you.
And we just opted out of that. Collectively.
Without really deciding to.
I keep coming back to that guy. The vacation guy. Full week off. Phone off. 9 hours of sleep. Still exhausted. And I think he did everything right by the rules we've been given. The rules just don't account for the actual problem.
The sleep stuff is real. Sleep quality matters, but it's downstream of everything else. If your cognitive load never actually clears, if the DMN never activates, then sleep is just biological maintenance. It keeps the system running. It doesn't restore it.
So the question isn't, how do I sleep better?
The question is, when did you last let your brain be quiet? Not distracted, not entertained, not productive, just quiet.
And most people, if they're honest, the answer is they don't know.
And that might be the actual problem.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I need to think about that. Or maybe I need to stop thinking for a while.
Maybe that's the same thing.